Welcome to this week's episode of the Success Realtor podcast by yours truly, Colleen Wood. Here is where we celebrate success in real estate and share the wisdom and struggles so that others can be successful too. If you're a new listener, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders, and I'm known for helping realtors earn a lot more money in commission without selling their soul to the industry and while maintaining balance with what's most important in life. Today is an awesome day because we are in the presence of the phenomenal Janelle Flaherty, realtor with Russ Lyon, Sotheby's International Realty out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Welcome, Janelle. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is awesome. What a great way to spend a cold day in Montana for me. A little bit warmer for you. Jealous of your weather. So excited to be chatting with you about your business.
Yeah, let's roll. I'm excited.
Okay, awesome. So let's just dive right in. How did you get started in real estate? What was your first transaction?
So, the long story that I can make a little bit shorter, my parents were both physicians, and growing up, they always used real estate as their platform for investing. So, I was kind of accustomed to seeing that. Like, we always had a cabin, like other pieces of real estate in Arizona. So, it was kind of in my upbringing a bit, I guess you could say. When I was a senior in college, I was nannying for a family, living with them. My husband, now at the time boyfriend, was in Montana, actually. So I just grinded out college in 3 years and was working and just basically finishing up what I needed to do in Arizona to eventually kind of move. We knew where things were going. So I'm a type A firstborn. So it was like, just check the list off. What do I need to do before we can move on to the next thing? So anyway, that was in '06. So as we know what that time looked like in real estate, it was booming. The father of the family that I was working for was in real estate. And he was like, you know what? If you've got a couple extra hours, I'd love you in the office. So really had a hands-on ability to kind of see what was going on even before I went to school. So I was a marketing major, kind of thought, you know what, this aligns with that. My parents will probably throw me a couple deals to get started. So that was kind of how I made it into real estate. But my first two deals were actually a daycare center and an auto parts store in Texas. So I actually started in commercial.
How did you get started in a commercial? Like most people don't, either they never touch commercial or they certainly don't get introduced to real estate with commercial real estate. How did you get that business?
So fast forward from graduation, getting married and moving to Montana, June of '06, had gotten my license in Montana, was ready to start at Coldwell Baker September 1st, told myself I could have, 6 weeks off because that was a whirlwind spring. And literally my husband comes home. I had like just unpacked the last box and he's like, hey, I just got a job offer back in Scottsdale. What do you think about going back? And I was like, you know what? I'll just go get my boxes out of the dumpster. I mean, they're right on the top. And so, yeah, we were back here Labor Day weekend. And as far as a job for me, so had my license, was kind of like, okay, well, now I got to get my Arizona license. So did that pretty quickly. And my best friend growing up, her dad owned a brokerage. He focused on commercial. He did development. He did shopping centers. He was building a new shopping center at the time. So I really got to see the full gamut of commercial, from purchasing the land to the architecture of a new shopping center. And then in the meantime, I did tenant management for his other shopping centers. So yeah, that was my start. And that's how I got the two commercial deals as my first two deals. But
That sounds
was
like
actually my
baptism
great
by
uncle.
fire.
Yeah, which was kind of fun. But anyway,
That's fantastic. That sounds like baptism by fire for sure. Most people
yes.
don't even ever touch a commercial deal and you just dove right in head first. I think that that's really inspiring.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, you take what's in front of you, and I'm a big supporter of, first put in front of you, attack it and do it well. So whatever that might be.
I love that. So you are a wife and a mama to a reining horse family, putting you right square in the quarter horse world right there in Arizona. You've
Mhm.
embraced that and you support your clients in their equestrian properties and their other needs. How did you get started in that arena?
So that again goes back to my parents. My mom had the horse bug. She was the only one in her family that had it. Just I think saved her money up, bought her first horse herself in 6th grade in Kansas. And
Oh my
fast forward, we always had a pony, we always had chickens, we always had something. But it wasn't until I was 12 and my mom had acquired at, I don't know, some point this black horse. And she was the essence of Black beauty and just kind of was like, she's pretty. Like, let's try this showing thing. So started like in the halter and the showmanship. And truth be told, she was evil. Her name was DJ because she was black and spicy. Kicked both my parents. I mean, like really not a very nice horse, but that's kind of what got me into it. And then I showed in the all around as a youth. So kind of went from the little local shows to paint shows to quarter horse shows. And then I was actually privileged to be on the American Quarter Horse Youth Association National Board. I was president of, the Arizona Youth Quarter Horse Association. So kind of got to dabble in some leadership stuff as I was upper level high school. And so then it was kind of like, well, the rest is history. Although how I ended up in reining, because I did equitation, pleasure, horsemanship, that good stuff. Ended up selling my horse, didn't have a horse for a bit. And my mom, she loves to go to auctions and she loves to win things on silent auctions. So at some point she'd acquired some lessons from this reining guy named Al Dunning. And I was like, will you just go use them? And I was like, no, like I have no desire to do that. She's like, just go. I was like, fine. So went to the ranch to use her lessons that she bought. And lo and behold, my husband had just moved to Al's to work there like a month earlier. And I guess you could kind of say the rest was history. So I was 16, he was 17 when we met. And then, we were married at 21 and 22. And basically that's where it started.
That's amazing. Do you think it's important to cater to your natural circle that you're running in when it comes to real estate and your business?
100%. I think in order to do well in this business, you have to enjoy what you're doing. And part of enjoying what you're doing is enjoying the people around you and just living life, but having this extra service to give to people, as you walk through life. So yeah, 100%. It was a no-brainer for me to just kind of naturally walk into that. As a horse trainer's wife, like there's a whole community, I think, of people in that regard, but then people trust their trainers. And so then their clientele were reaching out too. So I think it started with, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to give them to Janelle. That's what she's doing, like she's our friend. But then it turned into so much more because then their clients, who typically have the money to do horses, have the means to, buy some nice real estate. So, but 100%, interact within your sphere, create a sphere. It can be organic. Like it doesn't need to be produced in any way. Like it really should just be. And if that's PTA, if that's soccer, if that's basketball, my kids swim, they do cheer, football, basketball, like, horses was kind of what naturally just made sense and what I've kind of built upon. But, even just having really in my Instagram, whenever I'm friending people, like they're going to know that's what you do, and you don't have to force it on them. You don't need to throw it at them. You don't need to be salesy about it. You just, be yourself and be a resource. Like that's my favorite part of this business is I want people to ask where to send their kids, what restaurants to go to, where to get their hair done. Like I've lived here my entire life. I have a lot of information to give. So
Absolutely, you do. So, what would you tell a realtor whose family is, all the way dove into baseball or soccer or swimming, or, maybe they're, I don't know, into a cooking community or something like that? What would you tell them when it comes to growing their business?
well, I think just go for it. I mean, make sure people know what you're doing, but in a non-salesy way. So, connect. Part of my kind of morning ritual is to write 2 notes a day, whether it's thank you notes, whether it's birthday cards, whether it's you saw on Facebook, they lost a pet. I mean, whatever it is, just connect and then have, phone calls. Like, how are you doing? I follow the kind of the Ford method. So it talks about, your occupation, your kind of just an opening starter, your hopes and dreams. Like you go through this kind of conversation with people, talk about their family. I couldn't think of F. Okay, so family,
Yeah.
that's F. Occupation, how's your job? How's work? What's new? relationships, how's your mom doing, whatever. And then, dreams is D. So what trips do you have planned this summer? What's the big goal you'd like to accomplish? But working through those things, not ever really bringing real estate up is how you're going to make those connections. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We travel for cheer. So, you're in a pretty captive audience for a couple days and normally conversation comes up. So, but
Absolutely.
gear it more towards those questions instead of, oh, have you heard what the real estate market's doing? So,
Yes. I use the acronym FROG. So same kind
okay.
of thing, family, recreation, occupation, goals. And then like I make sure that I go through all of those questions before I ever talk about anything that's pertaining to me or anything that I do, unless they bring it up. I mean, if they bring it up, then of course we'll go down
Right.
that avenue, but exactly the same thing. I think that that's funny that you and I have a similar kind of stance on that. You don't have to be a used car salesman. You're just helping someone. You're just providing value, actually caring about them. And you really do. And what I always like to, and sometimes we're having so many conversations with people that it can be overwhelming in that you're forgetting what you've even asked or you're forgetting like how far into the conversation. So I always stick with the family,
Mhm.
recreation,
Right.
occupation. I go in the same order so that I know what the next question is gonna be to ask,
Yes.
and that's just a tool for people. The other thing is too, is I always take notes when it
Mhm.
comes to talking to people because I never wanna forget
Mhm.
something that somebody has told me. I sat down, I was in a coffee shop, and there was I think it was a realtor, and they were talking to a potential client, and the folks had just said that they were taking their kids to, like, a swim park the next weekend, and within 5 minutes, the guy asked, "So do you have any kids?" And it was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
fail, they already told you," and it's because 'cause you're not being present and actually listening to them, so
Well, that's the
really
thing, because
listening.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like, when you're talking, let them talk. Like, just truly
Mhm.
shut up and listen, and don't be looking for the next question. Like, stay in the conversation. Exactly. Be present and listen. Yeah.
Yes. There are people that would think like going into a niche or a niche like you have in the equestrian community could limit your business because you're not everywhere. I mean, obviously, you'll help people purchase other homes other than equestrian properties, but you've kind of dove into that area. Do you think that that's limited your ability to grow at all by working with the people that are in your circle?
No. I mean,
Mhm.
truthfully, it's the only way to go. I mean, you can't be spread too thin because people don't want that either. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna get a referral, from a horse person's friend who, needs a cabin instead of a horse property. I mean, that's not
Right.
like, it's more about the quality of leads you're getting. And wouldn't you much
Mhm.
rather be assisting your client's friend than something you purchased off of Zillow or whatever? I
Mhm.
mean, and it kind of goes to what you said in the intro about quality of life, is like, are you doing what only you can be doing as a licensed agent? You are writing contracts, you are establishing those relationships. I just hired an assistant this year and it's been huge for me to let go of things and really like refocus of like, wait. I can be doing other things. She needs to do this because
Mhm.
you know what? I pick my kids up at 3 o'clock every day. That's something I want to
Oh,
do. And I'm not going to be on the phone. So now when I drop them off at practice, I'll get back on the phone. But
sure.
but in order to time manage and to have a quality of life that's worth living and enjoying, you have to be in control and you cannot be spread too thin.
I don't think you could have said it any better. That is so true. It's so true to have that balance, and I'm so glad that you have an assistant. Can you tell us what she does for you?
Sure. So, truth be told, she started working for me a year ago, college student, just kind of said, "Hey," I said, "I don't have a job description." I said, "It could be picking up kids. I mean, if you would start dinner, if you would throw things, like full laundry, like it's going to just literally be like, this is what I need this week. And here's a to do list. And if you're cool with that, like, let's do it." And
Yeah.
she did. She was awesome. And then she graduated in December and we kind of had a little chat. And I said, "Hey, what's next for you?" And basically, do you have any interest in real estate? And, the answer was kind of like, I actually have been thinking about that. And it was like, let's do it. Great. So she's in school, so she's not licensed yet. So she's a little limited, but we've just kind of taken what she was doing and just started like bringing her into the office. So, like right now, she's working on some marketing materials and things for me. She even just said today, she's like, school makes so much more sense now that I'm like around it and like understand what they're talking about from a reality standpoint.
Mm.
Yeah. So her goal is to, be licensed in the next 2 to 3 months, and we're going to just go from there. But honestly, it's the best of all worlds because she does still pick up my kids on occasion or fold some laundry if she's at my house or whatever.
Mhm.
And I clearly could not ask that of a real estate assistant if I was throwing it out there on the job market. So I feel super blessed. I feel like she's a gift, and
Mhm.
I try to treat her that way too, because that's important.
It is. It's so important. I'm glad that she's willing to just do anything because we need lots of different kinds of help. It's not always business help. Sometimes we just need help like, gosh, I was supposed to have a party or something like that and I forgot to get, serving plates and napkins. I had that for an open house over the weekend and I thought, gosh, it would be so great to have somebody that would just help get
Yes.
something simple like that. So, Janelle, your past database absolutely gets the royal treatment. What are your secret ingredients of communication with your customers?
So I think keeping the number reasonable. So my number is about 200, give or take 10 on either side. But it's groomed like weekly, really. Like I'm in there, I'm making sure, did this person move? Did this last marketing piece, did it get returned for some reason? Like, I mean, you're paying for that. So make sure you're not sending it to a return address every month.
Right.
So take note of that. Get in there, change that address. I mean, I have a white pages subscription, so there's no excuse, like if I'm writing my notes, I try to dig in and not ask them for the address. I try to find it, because I just think a little surprise note is more fun than if you're like, hey, what's your address? So
Mhm.
and then with that, it's any past customer, it's any obviously customer I'm dealing with under contract right now. It's people that I potentially think could be a client. I have a hot list and a warm list that I look at every week of who's ready to go under contract in the next 30 days, who's maybe 60 to 90 days out, who's, a little bit lukewarm, I guess, let's say, where, they just mentioned at some point they're thinking about real estate in the next year, to really have them separate and really focus on the hot ones first, obviously, but still keep fires going, with your warm and your a little bit less warm lists. And I do 3 marketing pieces a month. So I do 2 print and 1 email, 1 to 2 really. So I have a newsletter, and this is for agents, right? Like
Mhm.
I can share my secrets. So
Yeah.
I pay a college girl $25 to do my newsletter, and we walk through the format. I tweak it a little bit, but for me, the problem was I sat down to do a newsletter and it took me 2 hours because I didn't like
Yes.
this picture, and then I didn't like
Mhm.
the wording of that, and I didn't like, so now it just comes to me and then I tweak it a little bit so it's more what I would say, but she actually writes a paragraph, but then it gets me going. Like I don't have to think about it. It's like, okay, here she set the basis. I'm just gonna make it more me, and here we go. So, and it always has the Crumford report, which is kind of our market stats on a weekly basis.
Mhm.
And then they have a month, overview. So it's an infographic so the visual people can see that. It's a little description of what that means. So, people that have no real estate savvy can still understand what that says.
Mhm.
My print pieces, I do like an auto brochure kind of through a print company every other month. Just looks really nice, has a little recipe, has a little article about something not real estate, and then some stats on the back. And then my other kind of go-to, I alternate that and then what I call is a ninja postcard. So I went through ninja selling training, which look it up, do it. It's life-changing. Like
Mhm.
enough said, plug for Larry Kendall. He's amazing. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Those postcards are really, our office creates them, which is super handy, but the one I did last month was like the top 5 golf courses in Scottsdale. So it has absolutely nothing to do with real estate. There's did you know the Arizona waterfalls? Like here's 10 Arizona waterfalls. Here's the 10 kid friendly hikes, whatever. It's something that is of value that hopefully they'll hold on to. Be like, oh man, Janelle sent me that thing on the hike. Yeah, we have family in town. Let me check that out, So because it's just creating that top of mind awareness that, yeah, clearly they're okay. So maybe their friends are in town. They love it. They want to buy a house. Like, well, this is Janelle. She gave us this hike. So it's just constantly about being that top of mind realtor, because we all know everybody knows 10 to 15 realtors. So how are you going to differentiate yourself and be the one that they share with people?
Exactly. Exactly. I know that through COVID, you kind of had a pet project with a coupon book. Talk to me about that. What did that look like? What was the brainchild behind that? What did you
Yeah.
put in it?
So in addition to those items that I kind of do monthly, quarterly-ish, so I do kind of a fun mail, I call it. So I'm about to next week send out my St. Patty's cards, and I put a dollar lotto ticket in, and I just say, hey, last year gas was a big thing, right? So I was like, hope you can buy a tank of gas or whatever, something cute, punchy, just like thinking about you, fun to open. So I do that. And then in the summer, I send my coupon book. So, yes, my coupon book was my COVID project, sitting at home, wondering how to stay in front of people. And I have a passion for women owned businesses. And a lot of my friends own their own businesses. So I reached out and just said, hey, I have this brainchild, come up with a coupon, whatever you want it to be. It's totally up to you. My graphic team, my marketing team, at Sotheby's does beautiful work. So I will put it together. Give me your logo, give me your contact info and your coupon. That's all you need to do. And then I put together a coupon book and sent it out to my database. So, it was an investment for me, but at the same time, gave a lot of exposure to those businesses and kind of,
Yes.
stimulated coming out of that, that time where we were all just like, what are we going to do? So that was year one. And then year two was 21. So people were kind of out and about a little bit more mixing, mingling. So I had a little event at my house where a couple of those vendors from the coupon book set up shop, had a little, wine and cheese, stop on by and shop, which was great. And then last year, took it, kind of added one other layer to it, and it was a charity component. So there was a women run charity called the Mama Army. So came
Wow.
alongside of them, and they are kind of the link between the community and its people, is like their slogan. So they said a lot of people were coming to us saying, we want to help, we don't know where. So
Mhm.
they actually started heavily supporting, human trafficking victims. And then they've kind of
Wow.
stepped back a little bit more to just be more community oriented and not be specific in that.
Sure.
So when I brought them on board, I said, hey, I really want a specific event so I can tell people where this money is going.
Mhm.
10% of the profits went to Sunshine Acres, which is a foster care home. And we gave the kids like a back to school party. So we had a shaved
Wow.
ice truck. We had a big blow up water slide. And I actually got to attend in July. And it was just so cool to like see that all come together. So that was like 40, 50 people. And now this year, April 30th, we'll do it again, kind of same premise, but just kind of trying to make it bigger and better and more vendors and, looking for 100 people. And I've even got, as you know, we had the Super Bowl in town.
Mhm.
So I was running around in January helping companies place celebrities, VIPs in rentals. And I came across a company that does that. And so I naturally kind of built a relationship with that company and I threw it at them. I said, hey, would you guys want to host my event at one of your rental homes to give you
Yes.
exposure? So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. And it's in the works, but I'm excited for it to be another successful event and community, oriented. I'll blast it. Anyone's invited. Everyone's invited.
Mhm.
Obviously, those vendors can show their stuff and we can all support a charity.
I love that. So, what advice would you give to another realtor who's just getting started with events? What are the key components of all of your events?
Nothing has to be big. I mean,
Mm.
start small. Like, make a reservation for 10 people, you know, start small and just see what happens. Part of that ninja group, we have obviously ninjas all over the world, but we have a kind of a smaller Facebook group. And one of their meetings that we had kind of just a couple weeks ago was around Valentine's Day, and it was an agent in Texas, and she just went to a Mexican restaurant, made a reservation for 10 in the bar, and people showed up, and it was not expensive. It was
No.
just a time to connect, and that's all you're doing. And I think she had a teacher, she had a nurse, she had a dental hygienist. Like, you don't know too what relationships people are going to walk away with besides you, at things like this. So yeah, it doesn't need to be big at all. Like, start small and put yourself out there and just see what happens. Another fun one I do is I did a paint night, like back to school, kind of mom's night out. And we had a watercolor artist come in my office. We kind of have a fun space. So yeah, she just did a watercolor class, and 5 to 7, it doesn't have to be forever. Everyone left with a little, and also my title partners and my lender came alongside for cost sharing. So just be smart and use your resources for sure.
That's amazing. Those are great ideas for sure. Thank you so much for sharing those. So, you've been a part of several different brokerages over the years with different structures, including several, small mom and pop type shops versus now you're with the incredible Sotheby's brand. How would you compare the two types of structures?
Yeah. So coming out of that, working for my friend's dad in commercial, it was kind of like, okay, well, where do I hang my license? And he's like, well, so I started with one of our tenants in the shopping center. I mean, I can't even tell you what the name of it was, to be quite truthful. So, and then, my goal in being in real estate was the flexibility. So my kids, were little. And at the time, it was the best part-time job I could have, but I really wasn't in it as a career until 2019 when my youngest went to kindergarten. So July 2019, I took Josie Pakula out to lunch, and she, in my mind, was the equestrian, expert. I had known her for 10 years, prior to taking her to lunch, and had kind of seen her business evolve. And when you're in horses, that there's a horse community, but then we all have our little umbrellas under that. So, she was more in the Arab world. So I knew I wasn't going to be like stepping on her toes or,
Right.
anything like that. I said, hey, I want to be you in my market. And she said, do it. She said, you've got the tools. She said, but why don't you come alongside me at this company, and then we can share marketing. We can, share listings. You can put your face on my flyers at your horse shows, and, whatever you need. So it really kind of didn't even seem like an option. Like, that's just what we were doing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to career, but she's telling me to do this. Here we go. So made the jump. And yes, it was a big shock going from, 295 a transaction, mom and pop kind of local brokerages. But yeah, then holy cow, you meet the Mac Daddy and realize quite quickly what that name means and what the blue
Yes.
sign does and the opportunities that it gives you. And I mean, I'm just blown away. I mean, the marketing it's like a magazine. I mean, and the resources that they provide. And yeah, it comes with a cost, but you almost don't even feel it when you really sit down and realize the opportunities that it's brought. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Which model would you recommend that newer realtors get started with?
I think it depends. I mean, I think it depends what your goals are at the end of the day. Like, if you are doing this as a career and that is your goal, I mean, start with the best. I mean, the training, and find a mentor, within that company, because they're out there. I've had the opportunity to do that with 3 or 4 agents this year, and it's been
Wow.
awesome. I love it. I mean, I think sometimes people are scared or think they don't have time or they're annoying, and like, it just really, if you think through who you would want as your mentor, you're not going to run into people, I think, that would feel that way. So, yeah, no, I would say if you want it more part-time, I mean, it is the best part-time job you will probably find, hours wise, monetarily, however,
Mhm.
then yeah, do what works for you. But I would say if you're on a career path in real estate, go for it and start on the right foot. Start in there as a brand new agent, find your mentor, and just get ready to dig in and put in the work, but it will pay off.
Wow. Wow. So, Janelle, you closed $18 million in production in 2022, which was less than what your goal was. You have set a goal to almost double your production every single year, and you've been very successful in doing that. But, 2022 numbers were a little bit lower. There are
Mhm.
lots of opinions as to why people saw some lower numbers in real estate with some lower volume versus an amazing year in 2021. But you think that there is and was opportunity for your best year yet this year, and even last year could have been your best year yet, but there's a lot of people that are really fired up about it, and you included. Can you tell me what it looks like for you moving forward? How do you get your attitude right? What do you struggle with if you don't reach your goal? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. I mean, you have got to have an abundance mindset in this
Mm.
business. If you have a scarcity mindset, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Like, there is plenty to go around for everyone. And if you ever find yourself being like, well, I'm not going to talk to that person because they're going to take my client or whatever, like,
Right.
just jump off the ship now. I'm just telling you. So, and when you do your job right, and when you have that abundance mindset, when you reach out, when you're willing to help, it will come back, triple fold, quadruple fold, whatever. I mean, yeah, you have to have that mindset. So what gets you in that mindset? Every morning, I start with gratitudes. I have a gratitude journal. I start with a quiet time, a devotion, some sort of reading, and then affirmations. And those can change. They can be monetary, they can be a specific goal. But yeah, again, just following kind of that ninja skill set that has been super successful for me. And every day is a new day. So regardless of what happened the day before, find 3 things to be thankful for. And if you do that, you'll find your day starts a little bit better. So, yes, I feel like I answered half, but what was the other half that I'm missing?
Well, I think.
Oh, the goals, like not meeting goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last year, I kind of had a lull in the summer. And it's funny because I feel like you don't realize you had the lull until you're like behind it. And right, anything typically we do, you like any seeds you sow, you're going to see 45 days later.
Mm.
So it really goes back to, what did I do those months prior to summer? Okay, well, school's getting out, spring break, whatever, like then 45 days later, you didn't put the work in, then you're going to feel it. So
Right.
just kind of in the fall, like had a fourth quarter goal of closing 10 deals by the end of the year. And I had 3 that I knew were closing, so I kinda had a little jump start on it, but obviously 3 to 10 is a big difference.
Mm.
So I ended up closing 6. No, I didn't get to 10. But again, if you don't set those high numbers, how are you gonna, surprise yourself? So,
Right.
affirm a bigger number than you think is possible, or affirm a certain amount of transactions in a quarter that sounds like there's no way, because if you put limits on yourself, then for sure that won't happen. But if you can
Absolutely.
set it a little bit more abundant, try. And kind of what I said is, I did 25 million in 21. And so 25 to 18, I mean, that's a pretty significant jump. But I said, I've never been more ready to start 23, like with a bang. And, I'm not even gonna say make up for lost ground or make it just
No.
like that's done and we're moving on. So, and one of my ninja tells you to have a word kind of the year. And so for 23, it's contentment. And
Mm.
that doesn't mean I'm not striving for more, but it
Right.
means that I'm gonna take where I'm at and really be content with it, whatever that may be.
I love that. What do you recommend for people? Maybe they had kind of a lower year last year, maybe first part of 2023 has been a little bit lower than what they thought. What would you recommend that they do to fire their business up now?
Make those calls. I would start with the calls, relationships, relationships, relationships. So
Mhm.
get your mindset right first, because you cannot be in a place to serve people the best if you're not in a good place. So take care of you. If that's a 20-minute workout, if that's, that 20 minutes with your coffee by yourself before, my husband thinks I'm nuts because we have to get up early for school, and I get up 20 minutes earlier because
Mhm.
it really does like set my day. So
Yes.
in the quiet with my coffee, with my journal. So yeah, puts you first, because you can't serve others if you're not full.
Right.
So definitely do that. And then make those calls and write those notes and write a note after you make a call so that you're reaffirming what you talked to them about and they know that you were listening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds like you're saying my game plan too. I do very similar things. So that's really fun to hear it said back to me.
Yeah.
So, Janelle, in wrapping things up, what does success look like for you in the next year, in the next handful of years? What does that look like for you?
So 35 million was my goal for 22. So, I was shy, but I'm going to just stick it back out there for 23. And I did have like a 4-year goal of 100 million. So I kind of, when you have a lower year, you kind of think about, okay, well, everything's still attainable in looking at that. So yeah, just continue to do what I'm doing. The assistant, adding her was a little scary, but
Mhm.
I talked to another Sotheby's agent in Park City who really just kind of pushed me. She said, just don't look back. She said, you can't dwell on it. I promise you, when you do it, it all just work out, and the deals, I can see the ability to have more deals because she's in the back end and she's my support and puts me in a better position to network. A big goal for this year is, my Sotheby's family network. I want to be their Scottsdale Phoenix person that they think of. So that means, going to networking events and going to Vegas for the Sotheby's global networking event at the end of April. I went to Austin last year, and then even just being more organized. So I'd done one, saw what worked, saw what didn't work. I mean, I've got spreadsheets going all over the place. I've got meetups starting. I'm planning an event there. So like it just is a whole new level. I mean, I think the referral network of Sotheby, like it wasn't even in my head to have that part of my business plan. It was just like, hey, my sphere is here. I've lived here my whole life. Like I've got this and I do. I have a great thing here, but why not share that with the world? So yeah, as far as production, I'd say that's my number and just continue building on what I've got, but still remembering the people that got me to where I am today too.
Oh my gosh, I love it. This was just so much amazing information. You are such a wealth of information. This was fantastic. Janelle, thank you so much for your time today.
Of course, of course.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Just as a reminder, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders. We are known for 3 things. Number 1, we close on time every time. We keep our realtors in the sales seat at all times by keeping them updated on all their current transactions. And number 3, when you entrust us with a lead, we follow up on that lead until they buy, fly, or die. Leads are never lost to our lack of follow-up. Our number 1 priority is for you to earn more money in commissions so that you can improve the lives of your family, community, and in turn, our country. So, can I count on you for that next buyer lead? I would love to work with you too. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please just reach out to my office. All right, well, I'll talk to you when we call in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Bye-bye.